You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a simple attempt of bringing in stories of people you and I can draw inspiration from. Ordinary folks, extraordinary lives. Their uniqueness and individuality that make them interesting to talk to and to listen to. A reaffirmation of the fact, open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest today is Priyanka Panda, an IT professional turned energy healer. She believes her life's calling is to enable more people to awaken their true potential as energetic beings who are conscious manifestors of their life. Whether it is quitting her career to follow her calling, going against family tradition to pursue a lesser-known field of energy healing, or rejecting conventional education to travel school with her daughter, Priyanka's life has been a tapestry of some bold and unconventional decisions. This is a two-part special with energy healer Priyanka Panda. In this episode, she takes us through the magical world of energy, consciousness, flow, aura, and soul memory. Hi Priyanka, welcome to You and I with Rashmi Shetty. It intrigued me when I read about you on LinkedIn, the fact that you're an energy healer. And I know that all of us have energy around us. Many of us, I'm not even sure if energy and aura are the same. I thought, okay, maybe having you over on this podcast and understanding energies would be the best thing to find out and clear so many doubts that most of us have. And especially in times like these, I think understanding what energy is and what we carry is extremely prime. So before we get into that space that you are currently working on, I'd like you to take a couple of steps back to take us through Priyanka, the little girl, and how did your journey begin, which led you to this amazing, beautiful space of energies? How exactly did your journey begin? Where did you grow up? Who was Priyanka as a little girl? If you can take us through it all, it'll be fantastic.
Well, thank you, Rashmi. Thank you so much for having me here today. I feel so glad and humbled to be part of you and I personally have been so inspired by the story behind how you and I started and the guests that you have interviewed, by the life stories. I kind of felt there was a part of me in these stories, and that's why it feels so wonderful to be here today with you. So my story began in a small township in Orissa. My father was a central government employee, and we used to live in this small community which we used to call as mini India, because there were people from all over India in the place. So we had one neighbor from Punjab, another one from Nepal, and someone would be from Kerala, someone would be from Bengal. So it was just such a wonderful space and time to grow up in. So in this small township we lived in, it was surrounded by mountains and there was so much greenery around. And I had always been, from a very young age, I had always been very connected to nature. So I still remember as a little girl coming back from school, I would just throw my bag and just rush out into the garden and go and lie down in the garden. And I would spend hours together just, looking at the clouds passing by and the ants crawling around. And finally, when I would come back home and my mom would ask me, what were you up to? And I would just say nothing because I would literally spend hours together doing nothing. But now that I look back, those moments of doing nothing and just being were probably the most profound and blissful moments of my life, because that laid the seeds of a deep spiritual inquiry that perhaps has carved me to who I am today. So we lived in this small town, and it was so remote. I still remember we used to get the newspaper a day or two late because it used to come by post. And kind of this remoteness led me towards books. And I used to feel that books are these magical time machines, they could transport me to any time and any space within a matter of seconds. And so I started reading spiritual philosophy from a very young age. And perhaps by the time I was 13 or 14, I had read a wide variety of spiritual philosophy, right from the Bhagavad Gita to the Upanishads, to the Old Testament, to Dostoevsky, or even Ayn Rand. So that also, in a way, to a lot of extent, shaped the path that I would take probably later on in my life. And so yeah, by the time I completed my schooling, and I was about to start a career, choose a career. So I was already programmed by the time to choose a career in science. The reason being, I was born into this family of achievers. So my grandfather was a doctor, and in the 1930s, he was probably one of the few Indian people in our state who were allowed by the British government to practice allopathy medicine. And he was this gold medalist, and there were just huge shoes to fill. Besides, my father was an engineer, my uncles were all doctors, and my sister was studying to be a doctor in a medical school. My brother had just gone into NIT. So there were these huge shoes to fill, and I was, in many subtle ways, I was already programmed that science is the only path for you, and that is probably the ladder to success, And I kind of already had this big roadmap of how a successful life should look like. So I don't really remember how the decade between my 20s and 30s passed, because I remember all that I can remember is I was in this journey of moving from one milestone to the another. I kind of had this huge checklist and I kept on picking it out one after the another. So I got into engineering. I graduated with honors, and then completed my post-graduation, went into a job, joined a big MNC. Then I traveled the world for my job, and I got married, had my first child. And so all this while as I was moving on in my journey, it never really occurred to me that this checklist that I was ticking off, it was not really mine. It was something that was given to me by my family or the society. And it was never really clear to me that I'm living a programmed life. I'm kind of fulfilling somebody else's expectations of what a successful life should look like. So, they say that the universe has this way of waking you up, because I felt that's what I was doing. I was sleepwalking through life. And by the time I entered my 30s, I slowly felt that my life had started to cave in around me. A few years after my daughter was born, she was diagnosed with autism. And that was the first blow to this, great big dream of what an expected life should look like. And then around the same time, my husband, who had been suffering from slip disc from a long time, he had to undergo a surgery. And and it was also a time around which we were neck deep in financial debt. And I was in a job, I was working very hard for it, but there just was no, there was no growth or satisfaction or recognition in the job. And at the time, I did not realize it, but now that I look back, I realized that I was in this whirlpool. I was struggling so hard to stay afloat because I was juggling so many things: my life, the health, job, a baby, office, and relationships. I was struggling so hard to stay afloat, but life just kept pulling me down and down until a moment come when it felt like I would sink. And that was a point when I believe I decided that I would just stop struggling. I just raised my hands up and I told the universe that, boss, I can't continue this lie anymore. I just surrender to you and I trust in your guidance. And I know that there's something that you want to show me. So please do, because I cannot live this lie anymore. So and that's when I felt that magic started happening into my life, if I can call it magic, because that's how it felt to me. I somehow got the courage to take some very bold steps in my life. I quit my job, and it was not such an easy decision to take because somehow I had been programmed for a career all throughout my life. And I had this feeling that a large part of my self-respect was connected to my career. Another big step that I took was I pulled my daughter out of school because she was really struggling, and I started homeschooling her. So once I decided to just, take the reins of my life on my own hand and move into a state of flow and surrender, few very magical things started happening. So I had been researching into alternate healing modalities because I just didn't want my husband to go for another surgery. And but I just didn't have the means to go to a master or a school and travel and, learn there. But then suddenly, all of a sudden, a master, a Reiki, who was a Reiki master, he contacted me and he agreed to come down to my society to teach me. I got initiated into Reiki, and it felt like at that moment that the initiation into Reiki, the day I got initiated into Reiki, was also a day which when I underwent an experience that most people would call as a spiritual awakening. So it felt like I had taken a quantum leap in consciousness. I felt so transformed because my entire perspective on life had transformed. And now I understand that it was not, Reiki was just the tool to get me to this point, because at that moment I was ready. I was ready to move out of my own way and accept what the universe had in store for me. And to truly become aligned with what my purpose was. So when we do that, when we become aligned with the universe, when we truly move into a state of flow and surrender, then it's, from my own experience, I have seen that things that don't serve you, they magically start moving out of your way, and things that you need at that moment in life to follow your path or follow your purpose, you magically start attracting them into your lives. And after spending years of research on how energy works and how energy healing works, I kind of have a better understanding now of how science is also talking about the same thing, but probably in different terminology. So I have a better understanding of how to explain my experiences from the point of view of science, and particularly quantum science. So my husband's health started improving on its own without any medical intervention, and he got cured out of the slip disc condition that he had been suffering for the last over a decade. I saw my child grow up from a little lost and very quiet and shy child into a confident, expressive child whose neurodiversity was something that I got more and more clarity on the fact that her neurodiversity was not a disability, but in fact it's a superpower that she possesses. So even now, I don't think any day passes when I'm not in awe at what her neurodiverse brain is capable of, and I'm not in awe of her unique perspective of looking at life and looking at situations and problems from a altogether different angle. So, and that's how I feel. So, if I at the moment I feel so proud of all the individuals in all the individuals who are neurodiverse, whether it is in the autism spectrum or ADHD. I feel that the world today, needs more individuals with a neurodiverse perspective, because our most of the times, if you say, our perspectives have failed to create a balanced world, and we need to look at the same problems from a different perspective. We need to find better solutions to the problems that face in the world. And if you want to do that, you want to engage more and more people who can give you different perspectives, and more the need is there to create a more holistic world that is more inclusive of different perspectives, different opinions. And that's why I feel so proud as a parent, and at the same time I feel so I feel this need to make people more aware that neurodiversity is not necessarily a disability. There might be challenges, but definitely we need to create a more inclusive world, because that's the need of the hour. So a single pointed directive has failed, and we need more inclusion in our perspectives in solving our problems. All these experiences were what I would say enriched my life, and I started believing in the fact that I was living an abundant life. To me, abundance is not just about financial abundance. That's just one aspect for it, and that too was our financial status was also changing. We moved out of a debt. I moved into a bigger house that I had dreamt of from my childhood. So all these things were happening, but to me, abundance really meant an abundance of all the aspects of your life. To have abundance in all aspects of your life, whether it is abundance of finances, whether it is abundance of love, whether it is abundance of experiences, whether it is abundance of possibilities to create the life that you want. So, and that is something that I feel that is a possibility for each and every one of us to create a life, to basically be the architect of your own life. And I feel that that's an awareness that we need to create among people, that we are capable of creating magic in our life. We are capable, in fact, we are this superhuman, we're not humans, we are superhumans with unlimited possibilities. So, and all we need to do is all the universe is asking us to do is to lead a life of awareness, alignment, and that will in turn lead to abundance. So, I felt that we need to just trust and surrender and probably move out of our own way and move into a flow, into a state of flow where we allow ourselves to align with what our purpose is, because every soul that is born into this planet has come with a purpose. And most of the times we are spending lifetimes together without even the knowledge of what our true purpose is, because we are following somebody else's dreams or expectations or purpose. So once we move out of our own way, then that is when magic starts to happen.
Awesome, Priyanka. You spoke about so many different layers of what exactly life can be, where, you spoke about neurodiversity, you spoke about abundance, you spoke about consciousness, you spoke about flow. And all four, for me, are so diverse concepts, but you brought them all together and integrated them together. Can you explain a little on what exactly is flow? And the way you said it, it seemed like we can make sure that all of us can have flow in our life. What is this flow that you were speaking about, and the consciousness that you brought in as part of your own awareness journey? So can you take us through that and explain that a little more, Priyanka?
Definitely. Thank you for the question, Rashmi. It's really so important for more people to understand this aspect of human life. So, the moment we talk about spirituality, the usual comment of people is spirituality is for the old ages. Once you retire, then you move into spirituality. But and it's not that people have not heard this term, that we are not physical beings having a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. But I think very few people understand this. So in energy healing, we kind of always look at the physical body as the human body system consisting of three parts, and we call it as the body, mind, spirit construct. So the physical body is just one aspect and the lowest aspect of a human being's existence. A human being tends to exist in three planes. One is the physical plane, that's the material body that we possess. So around our physical plane is the subtle plane of the energy body. And it's not that for thousands of years, shamans and masters and spiritual healers were aware of this energy body, and they used to call it the human aura. But now, even with a lot of scientific advancement, science has definite proof that the human energy field exists, and they call it as the human bioenergy field, or the HBF. So, I don't think many people would be aware that whenever we go to a hospital and take an EEG or a ECG graph, we are monitoring and observing some aspect of this energy field around us. So beyond the subtle body is the causal body. So nobody knows anything much about the causal body, except because that is something, consciousness is something that science still doesn't know how to define. But as spiritualists, we know that that is the plane of our soul. And the reason it is called as causal body, because that is the cause of why the subtle body and the physical body exists. So we live in these three planes: the causal body, the subtle body, and the physical body. So from my own intuitive experiences, I have understood that and I know many people don't believe in rebirth, and many people don't believe in life after life moving on in a cycle. But from my own intuitive experiences, I I'm trained in past life regression therapy, and I have had glimpses of many of my past life. And it is something that science is discovering slowly now, and that is something I'm so happy that modern day mystics and gurus like Sadhguru have talked so much about how the subtle body, or how the soul transfers from one life to the another, and how everything that we are is nothing but layers of memory. And somehow the concept of karma is also related to memory. So I'll just explain it a bit more. So in the causal plane, that is the plane of the soul or the consciousness, the way I look at it, the soul has come here to have an experience. We define our life's purpose as in the form of achievement, or in the form of we define our purpose as achieving something, whether it is material success, or whether it is name or fame. We want people to know us after we die. But in reality, we are forgetting this one important aspect of why a soul is born. A soul is born in this world to experience life. So in fact, we are forgetting we have devoted ourselves to the end point of what we should be when we die. But in reality, what the soul actually, worries about is the process of of reaching that end goal. That, what do you experience through your life till the point you die? So we have, and it is natural because we don't know beyond our physical body. We don't know anything beyond our physical body. So we give so much of importance to death. Because we think death is the end point. And when the physical body dies, there is nothing beyond it, because we don't know, and that is natural. But life and death is a continuous process. If you look at us, if you look at yourself, you would probably, the past that you had experienced, that is not existing anymore. You are not the same person probably 2 years back from now, who you were. You are not the same person right now. But all that she is within you right now is a memory. So, that's how the soul builds up. It builds itself up in the form of memories. And in memory, we feel that memory is something that is stored in a physical brain, but in fact, memory is an energy field. It lies, in this field of energy called a human bioenergy field, or HBF, around us. So we are made up of layers and layers of memory, and this memory doesn't die when we die, because only the physical body that is composed of this earth goes into the earth. But the soul remains, and the soul is nothing but layers and layers of memory that it has accumulated from many different lifestyles. So we are not conscious of those memories right now, because those lies in a subconscious brain. But if we find a way to align ourselves within, to align this physical body with the subtle body, and the subtle body with the causal body, it is possible for us to gain to be in alignment within ourselves, and to gain access to this huge database of memories that a soul has collected. And when you gain access to it, you actually open your eyes, because that's what the meaning of the third eye is. Because when the third eye is open, you are in alignment within yourself. You can see, experience, understand, comprehend so much more than what your two physical eyes can see. And that, I believe, is the true meaning of being in alignment. And that's just only one aspect of it, because I don't want to go too much in detail. So being in alignment means many different things, and it's basically a sea of what you can experience when you are in alignment with your physical, subtle, and your causal body. So So being in flow is basically, the way I would like to explain it so people understand is probably, as I said, the human body, the human mind is an architect. It has the capacity to create, and we feel, I'll just give you a little bit of backstory of why I'm saying this. So, quantum science now has proved it beyond doubt that matter, like the basic building block of matter is the atom. And in the subatomic levels, the subatomic components of an atom, like electrons and neutrons and positrons, they are not, they can behave both as particles of matter and wave functions of energy. That is called as the wave-particle duality in quantum science. And the most interesting fact is whether they, in an experiment, whether they appear as a particle of matter or as a wave function of energy depends on whether or not there is an observer in the experiment. So in a way, energy shifts into matter when there is a consciousness involved. Yeah, so just look at it. Energy, matter, and consciousness are like so in, how do I say, they're so together. Okay, they're not separate things. Yeah. So so atoms have an energy field around them. Atoms constitute molecules. Now the molecules have an energy field around them. The molecules constitute a tissue. The tissue has an energy field around them. The tissue constitutes a organ, and then organ system. An organ system constitutes the whole body. And all of these energy field within us constitute or make up this huge, this energy field around us. Yeah? Just like our human body, it is like a machine of many different organs and organ systems and tissues and molecules and cells working together to give us one whole holistic experience. At the same time, many different energy systems are combining together to form one big energy system around us. Yeah. So we have heard of it, and now, especially in current time, we're hearing more and more about manifestations, how you can use your thoughts to manifest. So I was just trying to give you a little bit of how manifestation works. So, in the atomic level, as I just explained, everything is in the subatomic level, everything is waves of energy, exist in the energy field. So science tells us that everything in the universe is composed of matter and composed of atoms. At the basic building block is the atom. So everything in the universe, everything material you see in the universe is composed of energy. We are all, a human being, I like to call a human being as a living, breathing, vibrating, energetic creature. And everything around us has an energy field, is a vibrating energy field around us. So and there are laws in science that talks about how two energy waves interact with each other, and there are various laws, such as the law of the concept of entrainment, which says that when two waves of energy interact with each other, if they have the same frequency, how they behave. If they have a different frequency, how they behave. So that is what is happening around us all the time. Our thoughts are energy field, and our thoughts are constantly vibrating out into the universe, and it is not visible to us. It is not comprehensible to us, but it is something that has been proved beyond doubt, and that is something that many scientists are now researching in a big way of how manifestation occurs, because this is just just two energy fields interacting with each other, and some repel and some attract, and that is how you attract things into your life using just the power of your thoughts. So that is a little bit of, so I'm not a scientist, but this is a little bit of a basic idea of how manifestation works, and how powerful human thoughts are, because we are living in a sea of energy field, and just by fine tuning our energy, by fine tuning our thoughts, we are able to attract things into our life that serve our purpose and repel things or probably move things out of our life that do not match our vibrating frequency.
Okay, so in a way, you're saying when people have happy lives, that's what they're attracting. If things are not going as per what you want, and people are upset and irritated about it, you don't call that a life in flow. So why is it that people who want certain things do not get it? Is it because they're not putting in the right energies, or the universe takes a call on what exactly is the energy they're attracting, or are they the words that get manifested in their lives? Because there are many people who are rather non-aligned to whatever is the flow than people who are aligned. So where does this alignment fall in place, Priyanka, in this entire journey of our life?
It's a very beautiful question, Rashmi, and thank you for asking that, because that was a question that has haunted me and had haunted me for a long time. So we kind of have a very different notion of happiness. We equate happiness with something external. We equate happiness that only if I get into this college, I'll be happy. If only if I get married to so and so person, I'll be happy. Only if my child gets so much of marks in school, I'll be happy. Or only if I move into this house, I'll be happy. Or probably if I get so much salary, I'll be happy. And that is understandable, because we live in a physical world where we have wants and desires. But if you study the life of masters or people who have awakened, you will see that their happiness is not dependent on something external, and their happiness comes from within. And that is the thing about being in flow. When you are in flow, when you are in alignment within yourself, you realize that happiness is something that comes out of you. So you move into the states of joy and blissfulness irrespective of what is happening around you. Okay, and that is, I think, that is where a point of trust comes in. At least in my life, it has been. So when things would not go in flow, when things would go out of my expectations, I would somehow understand that it was because it was not in alignment with my purpose. It was not in alignment with what I was truly looking into. There are wants, there are desires, and then there are there is a love path, there is a purpose, there is an ability of you to touch more people. So see, the universe is conscious. Okay, energies are conscious. They just act as a guide. They are guiding you into a path that is best for you, and you may not be aware of that at the moment. And that is why being in alignment within yourself, within your inner power, is so important. Because when we go within, we realize that living in love and empathy and happiness is the natural way of how a human being should function. Okay, I shouldn't use the word should, because the natural way of how a human being functions. It's the expectations that have been built around us by society or family or environment, or probably past life, experiences as well. So the experiences that have been built around us, that probably has caused us to move, divert from being in this joyful and blissful state of life. And when we divert, definitely there is a resistance, because our inner soul, our causal body knows that this is not the path for us. So, there is a resistance. And I feel the main cause of any irritation or sadness is resistance. Because there is, within, deep down in our heart, there is a voice that this is not right, this is not what you want. But somehow we have been programmed into thinking that this is exactly what I want. And then there is a clash. So this is what I feel living out of flow means, and this is what I feel resistance to living in flow means.
I think these topics and questions can go on into hours and hours of discussion because they're so deep. I know I'm touching not even the tip of the iceberg, but the tip of the iceberg. And this is done with a lot of years of study and a lot of awareness that when you're doing the study, that takes you and leads you on into what your purpose is and what your calling is. With this, we come to the end of part 1 of the 2-part special with energy healer Priyanka Panda. You can listen to part 2 in our next episode on You and I with Rashmi Shetty next week. Do send in your feedback to rashmi.thirdi@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com.